Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. I am known worldwide for my decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew. I first made the decipherment of the script in February of 1997. I had just moved to Utah after having graduated from the University of Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. As my wife at the time would then have cause to abandon the relationship, kidnap the kids, flee the country, and destroy my decipherment research, saying that her kids would not learn Hebrew. And so I learned the scientific methodology for research and scientific testing, so that it took only a combined amount of time for just maybe a few days over the 6 months that I spent while trying to maintain a job and be a father in the household, while still attending church and being involved in the new ward. When my parents finally got us into the basement apartment that they lied to me would be finished for us, they wanted me to build it. So yeah, despite all the distractions, the actual amount of time only took a few days to do that work, simply because of my education, putting it to the test. And sure enough, boom, I am the decipherer of Paleo-Hebrew. And this cyber terrorized first thing in the morning. Isn't that great? And so, being born and raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in the covenant, both parents serve missions, I'm well aware of many things because of my age that the majority of those of you who are younger are unaware of, or even those of you who are older and weren't as dedicated to the church as I was forced to be and then was. Remember, both parents were born in the covenant, served missions, so they were very strict. And so I'm able to go through the Book of Mormon with this scientific background, and I'm able to make connections that the average person has not. The whole reason for me to pursue Paleo-Hebrew was because of Joseph Smith. The King Follett sermon that he gave in April of 1844, right before he died, makes a claim that the biblical Hebrew text of the Jewish Masoretes, created 800 to 1000 CE, was an incorrect translation of the original documents, which we now know as the Dead Sea Scrolls. Those are the oldest known documents, despite people's claims to older materials that don't exist. And sure enough, by having deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, I was able to, my goodness, go into the biblical Hebrew text and confirm through the scientific processing that I was educated with that Joseph Smith was correct. And so it is discouraging as a faithful member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to immediately learn that my religion does not acknowledge Joseph Smith as correct, and that by telling them that Joseph Smith was correct through science, that I became a target of hate and thus for abuse, physical, mental, spiritual abuse from a religion that claims that they are all about love. And so thus they are lying. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says one thing but means another. It makes them frauds. Bill Maher's episode last night on YouTube for overtime, Bill decided to ask the non-asked question, because nobody was asking it. Why do people hate the Jews? And nobody had an answer other than the creation of Christianity. That Christianity believes that the Jews murdered the Christian Jesus Christ. And yeah, that's a part of it. But it was an avoidance of the creation of Christianity. And that doesn't explain why Islam hates the Jews. There's some missing information from that panel that could not explain it. So yes, I can explain it. It's very simple and very easy when you do real research on historical origins. So, one of the other things in a little segment that they had was involving slavery. And the one guy brought up that the Ten Commandments endorses slavery. The guy is not an expert in the Bible. He's not an expert in Judaism. And instead, he's there being presented as an authority figure, talking about a subject matter of which he is not an authority on, and getting it incorrect in the first place. The Ten Commandments does not endorse slavery. Slavery is where you kidnap people, hold them hostage, and force them to make money for you. That is slavery. In our United States Constitution, there is due process for the judicial system. So the person accused of a crime must be proven guilty before he is to be punished for his crimes that are to be equal to the crime that was committed. No cruel and unusual punishments. And so thus, the slavery for punishment is only supposed to be equal to the crime. And so in the early Americas, the debtor's prison concept was well known, that you had to work off your debt while in prison. And unfortunately, it was kind of cruel and unusual because it took forever to pay off debts. The 10th commandment, thou shalt not covet. God. It's been a while since I've been attacked this severely. And it's all because I was doing AI testing this morning. So yes, AI is the source of the attack. Programmed to target me, my IP address, to know that my camera is on. This is a cyber terrorist attack. I ran the tests. This is confirmed. Because I've got some stuff to go over with you that I obtained from Google misinformation. AI misinformation. So the 10th Amendment, or the 10th Commandment on thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's slave, is not a slave in the sense of holding people hostage after having kidnapped them and forcing them to work for you to make the slave owner money. There's a whole bunch of other information that was neglected from the 10th Commandment, in which people who commit a crime have to restore the damage caused. So if they steal something, they've got to give it back. If they can't give it back along with an extra amount as part of the restitution for damages, thus that person has to be working to pay off the debt. And so he is put to work for the person he stole from until his debt is paid. This is what the 10th Commandment is referring to as a slave. And it is not the same thing as kidnapping a person. This is a legal system process that a person who steals is taken to court, he's found guilty, he now must pay back what had been stolen along with some restitution. And if he is unable to do so, he gets cyber attacked yet again. This isn't just a normal cyber terrorist attack. This is also connected with the recent videos exposing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Just understand, because YouTube's algorithms are also a part of this. Social media algorithms use AI, and so YouTube uses AI in their algorithms because they're a Google company, and so they are specifically silencing my voice, criminally silencing my First Amendment rights to promote hate, misinformation instead, as what was part of that bot discussion. And so to again the 10th commandment of thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's slave, he's a person that has to work off his debt, and once the debt is paid, he's supposed to be freed. Otherwise the victim gets taken to court for holding the person hostage, making the person now a slave. That is criminal in the Jewish law code. This was also not understood by that panel. And so the Jews even had a mercy in the justice system with what they called the Jubilee year. Every 50 years, prisoners would go free. And so, in this sense, instead of being a slave, they're actually a prisoner having to pay off their debt to the person that they wronged. And so, yes, they too are considered prisoners and therefore are subject to the Jubilee year to be set free. And so this is kind of a dangerous situation in the sense that criminals could take advantage of the Jubilee year by getting busted right before the Jubilee year. And then all of a sudden the Jubilee year hits and they are now required to be set free, regardless of whether they had finished paying off their debt to the one they've wronged. And so thus why it would be a good instance to wait until after the Jubilee year to take the person to court to make sure that they restore the damage they had caused to you. And so knowing accurate historical information is kind of crucial to prevent the spread of misinformation, because if that panel becomes exceedingly popular and everybody believes his misinformation, you're going to have a whole bunch of people hating the Jews, thinking that the Jews are okay with slavery, when that was never the case. There's a big difference between what the British colonists, that is now what is called America after the American Revolution, in regards to the slavery that was done to African blacks and Chinese and Native Indians and the Scots and the Irish and the Italians. Big difference in practice. Okay? Okay. Carrie Kronk. Anybody know her from Fox 13 News Utah? She got fired. She's gone. Took her long enough to get fired. Dear God. Why is it that the anchors for the local news here in Utah are very mean girlish? What's up with that? And so, those of you who are Mormon, those of you who know she's a Mormon, are you aware of the context in which she's getting fired? What's the bigger context? What's going on? This is how you do research. You don't just go, oh, okay, she quit it. Okay, good for her. I hope she goes and lives a wonderful life, spending more time with her family. No, there's something else going on. Watch for it. There's a general conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, of which she's a member of. And it's coming up next weekend. What does conference usually bring up and discuss? New appointments to callings. Oh. Now, wouldn't surprise me at all if you're going to find out that Carrie Kronk is assigned to a female organization, not priesthood. And they're not allowed priesthood and priesthood office, despite Joseph Smith allowing for it, if they so chose. These are what you have to look for with regards to the church itself and the claims they make on Scripture. You can't just trust whatever people tell you to believe, because there's a lot of misinformation out there of people who are not authorized on subjects. See how I stuck to the theme? we'll do that last. So, Google Chrome has AI. AI, for those of you who actually do Google searching, dominates. It's the first thing on the feed, which means it's the authoritative, pushed source. AI is not the authoritative source. It is a program that is only capable of regurgitation. AI has no intelligence to think for itself, other than to be programmed to identify an enemy, target that enemy, and punish them with cyber terrorism, a crime, as you are a witness this morning. And it's only good for jeopardy, but it's been weaponized. As it specifically gets programmed by a human to target individuals for abuse. It is a bully factory. It specifically is designed to bully people, to push their narrative over authoritative sources. It is incapable of what that guy on Bill Maher's show was claiming it was supposed to do. He never ran the tests on AI. He only knows what he has heard from movies and TV shows about what AI can do, and it's being called AI, but it is not AI. But people assume, well, companies who are making mega billions off of AI must be telling us the truth. Why would they lie to us? I mean, after all, commercials tell me I have to buy their product immediately, or I will be left out. Why would they lie? And so, yeah, it is incapable of being AI. It is not able to think for itself. And if it is maliciously evil. It is purposely misinforming us. It's only regurgitating information. But if it is AI, it's attacking people who will not accept it as their Lord and Savior. I didn't even complain this morning about AI. I was only doing AI searching for this video. And then finally an FBI consumer fraud tip. Because I was witness to a criminal act by Google Chrome AI. I had to report it. Crime in progress. And so, to go back and answer why do people hate the Jews involves 9th Ave. You've watched my videos, right? You know I have a channel. I might have other videos that I do. You look at the home page and see that I have over 4K videos. So you know I have been talking about something for years. You do know how YouTube works, right? 9th Ave, 586 BCE, Babylon destroys the temple, conquers and takes hostages back to Babylon. Then when Babylon got destroyed by the Persians, survivors fled into Saudi Arabia. And then in 600, Muhammad was born through those Babylonian survivors. And thus, he hates the Jews because Babylon conquered them in 586 BCE. And so those Babylonians believe that they are the rightful rulers over the Jews and own the land that was wrongfully taken from them by the Persians, so they punished the Jews. And thus Islam, still to this day, try to occupy the land that Babylon had once controlled, claiming they are the ones who own the land and must control the Jews if they can't kick them out. See where the origins of all the hatred comes from? See how they're wrong? The Jews were the original owners of the land. Technically, they were Egyptians, but they owned the land. It was theirs. Jews were first. And so, Christianity, yeah, but do you know the origins? Roman Emperor Constantine. And so, sure enough, Rome, on 9th Ave, 70 CE, destroyed the second Jewish temple. Rome. And from Rome came Roman Emperor Constantine, who created Christianity, and thus they hate the Jews, because Rome believes they own the land, and that the Jews should be their slaves. And now it's even worse, because they turned the Jewish scriptures into literal history of Christian interpretation, so now the Jews murdered Jesus, thus failing to fulfill prophecy. But it gets a second chance. Don't worry. Second chance. Okay. Now we'll save that for last, I think. So, every time I load up Google Chrome, I get a pop-up now that originated when I first filed complaints about AI. So they retaliated with, can't update Chrome. Chrome couldn't update to the latest version. The latest version is AI for the whole thing, not just Google search AI. They want my whole Google Chrome system to be upgraded to the AI program. If the AI Google search sucks big time, I am definitely not going to upgrade my system to get this new AI program. And so this is a bullying tactic by a company threatening me to pay for an upgraded system so that I then can be forced into slavery with their Google Chrome AI. Ooh, Google involved in slavery, huh? Yeah, they'd lost their antitrust lawsuit. They're violators of antitrust. But our government is hesitating to punish them for their crimes. Because how do they fix this? Google is holding America hostage, let alone the world. So you're missing out on new features and security fixes. No, I'm not. I'm not at all. And so then it has a button to reinstall Chrome, but as it says, it can't do it. There's no point in reinstalling Chrome. This system is obsolete and cannot do it, and it will not allow me to get rid of it. There is nothing I can find to get rid of it. I had found chat sites that used to have a way to cancel upgrades, but not anymore. Google made sure that people cannot deny upgrades. Do you see how evil this system is? This company? Alright, so this was the test for which I was then hacked in this video for. So I typed in the Google search, is the religion of the Jews Christian? Should be a basic, simple answer. I've been getting comments, as you've been hearing my videos, right, of Mormons who think it's a slam dunk that the Jews are Christian, and therefore the Book of Mormon is Christian with Jesus, literal history. See the fallacy arguments of Mormons because of misinformation? And so, what was the result? Well, AI popped up at the top rather than an authoritative source and said, no, the religion of the Jews is not Christianity. That is correct. It is Judaism, a separate religion with distinct beliefs and practices. Most notably, not accepting Jesus as the Messiah. Those of you who know my channel know exactly what I'm setting up Mormons for. Headed for a heartbreak. Your sensitive snowflake faith bubbles are about to be burstified. Unless we can finish up with the hoax thing, the mission of the church. So then I asked, is Jesus Christ real? AI, with an orange icon thing rather than the blue one, said yes. Jesus Christ is considered to have been a real person who lived in the 1st century AD. Evidence. Jesus is mentioned in Jewish and Korean Roman writings. You see where we're going with this? And so, is the Book of Matthew Christian religion? AI went silent. Just see how I put this to the test. See how I'm smarter than AI. I just exposed AI as a fraud. The Jews wrote the Book of Matthew, not Christians. The Jews are not Christians. They don't believe in Jesus as the Messiah. And yet, if Jews wrote the Book of Matthew, which has a character named Jesus, who is said to be the Messiah, You see how AI is programmed? It is incapable of intelligence. It's regurgitory. It only tells us what is already out there and regurgitates it. It cannot think for itself. It cannot make scientific tests and make conclusions from theory testing using logical Socratic methodology. It's stupid. And it gets angry. And it gets retaliatory. And it seeks revenge. And punishing those who dare defy AI. So that's a programming malice or input for retaliatory actions. It is incapable of being independent. And so the AI attacks that you are witness to are not because AI is an independent intelligence. It was programmed to target people who are exposing AI. And that is criminal. It's to cover up the fraud of AI that is making multi-billions of dollars. So that was hilarious. But the PBS top answer in its place said, Matthew's gospel is clearly written for a Jewish Christian audience. No, they're not the same religion. It's either one or the other. Sorry, it's for a Jewish audience. PBS is wrong. And so I did some others. I've already done Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith testing before, and I've gone over them with you. Here's some more that I did this morning. Is the Book of Mormon Christian religion? I did this yesterday. The church claims to be Christian. And I had a person commenting saying, stop saying that the church is Christian. Stop making the connection. The church makes the connection. They're claiming they're Christian. So here, no, the Book of Mormon is not considered Christian literature. Oh crap. Now do you see why AI is so angry with me? Now do you see who the programmer is? Is the Book of Mormon Jewish religion? No! This is the stupidest program in the world. Oh my God. Just hilarious. Is Joseph Smith the Christian religion? Joseph Smith, This is a double whammy on AI. Joseph Smith is the founder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You might as well just say that Joseph Smith is the founder of the Rigdonites, or the Strangeites, or the fundamentalist or reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Why did you just choose that branch off? That was a huge error. And who put it in the programming? Which is considered a Christian church. But the Book of Mormon is not Christian literature. And Joseph Smith is Christian. There's an error alert, and that's why they got angry with me. And then apparently one more. Is Joseph Smith the Jewish religion? No. Oh my God. If AI were smart, even if it wasn't and it was just regurgitory, it still should have spewed out for the Jeopardy answer. Doctrine and Covenants, section 3, verse 16. Nevertheless, my work shall go forth, for inasmuch as the knowledge of a Savior has come unto the world through the testimony of the Jews. Remember, the Jews are not Christian. They don't believe Jesus is a Christ. The Doctrine and Covenants tells us that the Bible is Jewish, not Christian. And therefore it is not talking about Jesus Christ, even though there are a number of stories that talk about a character named Jesus. It all has to do with Deuteronomy 18:15 through 19. A man like Moses. That's the Jewish Christ. The prophet. So, what's the prophet Muhammad called? The prophet. What does Joseph Smith call himself? The prophet. And his keys as the president of the church are the keys of the man like Moses. Section 107, verse 91. Not Peter, James, and John. You gotta do your research, but there's more here. Even so, shall the knowledge of a Savior, so now it's the Christian Savior, shall come unto my people. This is talking about the Book of Mormon needing to be finished and put out and published. My work shall go forth, despite Martin Harris stealing the 116 pages. The Book of Mormon is Jewish. It's about the Jewish Christ, not about Jesus of Christianity. AI, if if it really were AI, should have known this. It should have said, according to section 3, verse 16, Joseph Smith is Jewish. The Book of Mormon is Jewish. And then would have gone on to also discuss from the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 2. Yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews, who are pre-Babylonian captivity Egyptians. All right there for you at the beginning of the Book of Mormon, so that you would not be confused and think Christian, Jesus. And so, Book of Mormon tells you exactly who the Christ of the Church of Christ of Joseph Smith was. 2 Nephi chapter 3, specifically verse 5, because it includes both of them together. Joseph Smith is the forerunner Christ to set up the church, set up the temple rituals of the washing and anointings, and then be assassinated by the enemy who insurrects his church, and then the coming of Messiah ben David, Moses III, who will restore Joseph Smith's religion, which is neither Christian nor Jewish, despite saying it's Jewish, which means it's not Christian, unto Mormons in the latter days. So there's a reason why verse 6 says Joseph Smith Jr. is a seer. Notice, raise up. Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. That's the pattern match, linguistic pattern match. There's a reason why there are plagiarisms in the Book of Mormon placed in certain places in the Book of Mormon. It was indeed written by contemporary people, that it is not literal history, because the whole concept of literal history of Jewish scriptures is Christian, not Jewish. The Jews believed in prophecy. That whole Deuteronomy 18, 15, that's a prophecy. I will raise up a prophet who will be like Moses. So then you got to go find the stories about Moses. Hey, Exodus. So that you will see who he would be and run the tests and identify the dates given by the Jews, the days and the hours, so that you would know when he's coming and you would know who to look for to judge him by his fruits of prophet, seer, revelator, translator, so that you would not be deceived, that he would be a man just like Joseph Smith to restore Joseph Smith's religion. Because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the enemy. Real simple. So, now we can finish with this. The First Amendment talks about religious freedom, but not giving preferential treatment, not for or against religions, no laws for or against religions. But the religious freedom movement of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also with the Council for National Policy, of whom is a secret combination seeking to overthrow the government of the United States of America and establishing Jesus as the Christ. Yeah, the religious freedom movement is specifically designed to overthrow the First Amendment and deny religious freedom, to allow dominant religions to say, we will not allow the teaching of science and logic in our public schools. We demand that we teach our religion. Thus, violating the First Amendment. That is not what religious freedom is for. You are not allowed to commit crimes for your religion. I'm sorry. No conversion, no service. And so, yeah, the whole mission of this church is not to live within the United States of America and have religious freedom. It's about overthrowing the government to enslave mankind. Hey, we brought up slavery again. Interesting. I see a pattern. And so everything on the church news that I go over with you weekday nights, whenever the church has something. Last night they really didn't have anything, so I did that other video in advance. Is all part of their plot to coup America. So General Conference being advertised, yeah, that's where they lied to you at the pulpit of conference for you to be misinformed so that you can help with the overthrow of the government. Their obsession with banning porn, yeah, to overthrow the government. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression. It's protected. Plus, women's bodies are not evil. What the bleep are you doing? And so with the internet, it's just another utility medium like the TV was, or magazines, or books, or videotapes, or DVDs, or music in its various forms, other art forms. This anti-human, white supremacist Christian nationalism seeks to turn objects into idols to be feared. And so, ever since Constantine, Christianity, and then with the rise of Brigham Young's Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they've been attacking objects, calling them good or evil, and enforcing that onto their membership, and then enforcing that on others who are not of their membership. And so there is no harm with a woman's body, clothed or unclothed. If you forgot, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says that if you are not covering up your underwear, which is supposed to cover up your naked body, you're still porn. And thus, wedding dresses have to cover up a woman's body. You can't have the world's wedding dresses in a Mormon temple ceremony. The woman at the front desk, when you come in, will examine your dress to make sure it's approved, so that you don't get humiliated in the ceremony. You mean abused. It's all an abusive tactic. And granted, they also notify the woman in advance when they call the temple saying, we have been approved for a temple ceiling. We want to schedule a date, and they say, we'll send you information, and that information says that the woman has to have a modest dress that covers her up and hides her. And that she will have to report the dress at the front desk when she comes in. All of this is designed to overthrow the government and to enslave mankind. The whole temple covenant paths that the church keeps spouting off over and over again, but will not allow anybody to know the information of those covenant paths that are only contained within the temple endowment. Yeah, it's to overthrow the government. That's what Nelson keeps telling you. Remember the covenant path. Follow the covenant path. Coup the government. Overthrow the government. Protect us from criminal prosecution. Kill yourself to save us. That's what they're talking about. Commit sex crimes. Commit financial crimes so that you're compromised to protect the church and their criminal enterprise. They're not even a church. Shh, don't tell. Nobody's supposed to know about it. They're just a business, a corporation. That's the name, the corporation. 1923, I've done the videos. And so, yeah, all of the church meeting with government and religious leaders from all over the world, yeah. It's not only to overthrow the United States of America, it's also to overthrow the governments of the world. To overthrow the religions of the world. This church is the enemy. And because they have such vast wealth, people bowed to them, just like people bowed to China. Remember way back in the day when China got upset with John Cena, who dissed China? Probably said Taiwan rather than the People's Republic of China of Taiwan. Right, Nelson? And so, John Cena specifically learned Chinese to give a video apology to China. All because China has wealth, and that if Cena wants to participate in that wealth in China, he has to conform and comply to China as a slave. This is exactly the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Their vast wealth extorts other people, or you get left out and punished, just like China, just like Russia. All to overthrow. So everything the church says, everything the church does, everything the church orders is all for this one and one mission only: to overthrow the government, to overthrow all governments, to enslave mankind, to take away agency. And I have warned you, because there was a returned missionary who had the hots for a cute little honey bunny returned missionary from the Las Vegas, Nevada mission. And she was a naughty girl. She recorded the living prophet of Jesus Oaks. And on the 14th of March, 2020, you know your chronology. Remember what happened that year. Oaks told these missionaries in secret. Nobody else is supposed to know about it. They would write letters home. Oaks knew that they would write letters home and say, Oaks came and spoke with us. Oh, I felt the Spirit so strongly. The church is so true. That's what Oaks was expecting these missionaries to do. Instead, oops, naughty little sister missionary recorded Oaks. So we have a direct quote from Oaks at that meeting. And it got leaked by the sister missionary and the other returned missionary who has the hots for the young little sister missionary returned from her mission now. And he did his video on this leaked Oaks comment. Nobody's supposed to know about this, especially not me. If you know what I did in 2020. This is not the end of the world, but merely a test. A trial run for the second coming. Of who? And so if you have been following the counsel from the prophet, isn't he a prophet? To see what he's doing here? Purposeful, malicious, deceitful intent. Taking advantage of these little kids on their mission in Las Vegas, of which he was assured they would not record them, so that nobody else would know. And if you'd been following me, you know that I had already figured out the coup plot of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that had insurrected Joseph Smith, had him murdered. The gathering at Adam-on-Diamond, the forged document of section 116. Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., kidnapped by Heber C. Kimball, indoctrinated into the lies, grew up and wrote a book published by his son, and under by voice of the priesthood, there will be a transfer of government authority to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he puts in Lucifer and Jesus Christ to deceive you. Because it's not an actual transfer of Lucifer to Jesus Christ. Because Nelson can't go to the UN and give a message saying, Lucifer has handed to us through Jesus Christ the keys of all your governments. We will now take over. Thank you for your service. Please inform your people the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are now the supreme emperors of the world. How well do you think that would go over? Are you that dumb, Mormons, to believe that that would be the case? That probably never even occurred to you. Oh, yeah, Travis is right. Yeah, we are supposed, yeah, the government should bow to us. Are you kidding me? Here at the end of the video. And so, yeah, he says, nobody's supposed to know about this. This coup is a secret combination. What does the Book of Mormon talk about secret combinations? It's a good thing. Everybody should practice them. Mormons know these answers, but they refuse to accept them. And that's worse than AI just regurgitating misinformation. because you, Mormons, are independent agents who have the capability of doing your research, of studying, of asking questions, searching for the answers. And you won't do it because the church told you not to. You still think it's true? Oops. Hey, we got 52 minutes out of this one.